All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. So before we get into today's episode, I just want to let you know that this week we're doing a big enrollment for my signature program, the Online Summit Program. Now, specifically, we are looking for hikers who want to get strong and pain-free so they can conquer any adventure they set their mind to. Now, with the year coming to a close, this is a great opportunity to finish 2022 with a bang, get yourself in a fantastic position for the end of the year, and really kick off your hiking for next year with a bang. So if you want to find out more and see if and how this program may be right for you, what I'd like you to do is go to summitstrength.com.au/apply. From there, you can find a time to chat with us. We can really explore your situation, your details, and really just see if this program may be right for you. So if you want to find out more, go to summitstrength.com.au/apply. And there's a link for that in the show notes below. So with that being said, today, what I want to talk about for this episode is I want to go into the benefits of training for hiking. And what I mean by that is often we talk about, okay, with your training, this is how you improve this. This is how you improve this, whether it's foot pain, whether it's improving your heels, whether it's getting for pack carrying and this and that. And that's all well and good. And all information hopefully has been very helpful for a lot of people. But today I want to get into the specific benefits of actually how the right training can make you feel on the trail in different situations. Because we've probably all been in these situations where we've been in a hike or a situation on the trail where we've been a bit underprepared. And, it doesn't feel so good. It's a little bit tricky or it's not so good. And some of us, not all of us, but some of us have been in that opposite position where actually we're in a really good position. We feel really good. We feel really conditioned. We feel really controlled. And it can be sometimes really powerful just to explore these polar opposites. Because sometimes we can get wrapped up in the negativity, but if we can look towards the future, actually what we're aiming for, what we're trying to achieve with our training, sometimes that can be really powerful in regards to training motivation, in regards to keeping you focused, in regards to just knowing where you're going. So today I want to explore a whole bunch of different benefits of training for hiking and kind of talking a little bit of detail around how it actually feels. So the first area I want to talk about is uphills or steep ascents. So, in the bad situation, all of us have been here. We go up these hills. We approach a hill on the trail. We've done a few, but we're getting up there and we're like, oh, you know what? This looks like it's going to be tough. And the first thing we think about is like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a challenge. And we start hiking up the hill. At first, it's okay. But then a few things start to happen. Our legs start to get a little bit burny. Our calves start to burn out. Our quads start to burn out. We're like, oh, this is tough. Our breathing starts to get a little bit short. And we're like, oh, we're getting huffed and puffed doing this and that. We go a little bit further. Our legs are getting really sore. People start getting bursting ahead. We start falling behind. Our breathing's getting really labored. We're getting hot and sweaty and red-faced. And it's not much fun. And then we either have to stop or we just push through and just not have a good time. Now, that's a situation probably all of us have been in at one stage or another. Now, on the polar opposite of that, what we're actually looking for with the training, and if we've strung together our training, we've focused our training, and we really put in the effort, it can be a whole different story. Let me paint this picture for you. You come up, you're hiking. You've been hiking for a couple of hours. You see a really steep ascent. And you're like, you know what? Bring this on. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energetic. Let's make this happen. You start walking up the hill and you're like, yep, I can feel this. There's an ascent. This is that. I can feel the legs are working. But you don't feel that burniness. Step after step after step, you're like, yeah, I'm in control. This is good. And you're kind of just powering up. You're breathing. It does get a little bit quicker at first, but then it settles into a nice rhythm and you can keep on powering up this hill. But you can also keep up a conversation. You can keep up with the people around you. You don't drop back. And you can get to the top of the hill and be like, yeah, okay, that was good. I'm ready to keep on going. I don't need a break. I'm feeling fantastic. That's a position that a lot of hikers are striving for, but it can really feel like that. And that's one of the big benefits we're aiming for with our hiking. Now, on the flip side of this, let's talk about downhills. Because downhill's another struggle. Steep descents, stairs, hills, whatever it may be. In the tricky situation, we've all been here again. We go on the downhill. We're walking downhill and we're like, oh, yeah, okay, I got to concentrate here. You're a little bit worried about your footing. Step after step, your legs start to get a little bit burny. Your quads start to burn out. Your feet start to get sore. You start to get all jelly-legged. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually worried. I'm actually going to fall over. And you're going to really concentrate. You're going to really stay in the zone because you're actually concerned your legs might give you a little bit of trouble, and you might actually tip over, and that's going to be a bad situation. So the entire descent, you're really concentrating, really stressing, just waiting till it's over. And it's not much fun. And again, I bet everyone listening to this podcast has been in that situation before. I know I sure have. Now, on the polar opposite of that, what we're looking for when we've done the right training, we can get in this situation where you get to this downhill. You've just done a big ascent. You come to this steep decline and you step down. And you're like, boom, I'm confident. The legs are feeling good. I'm feeling steady. I'm feeling balanced. I can take step after step after step. And yes, I do still need to concentrate, but I'm not worried about falling over. I'm not worried about my legs giving way. I'm not worried about things lacking. And I can still look around, take in the view, because often the view on the downhill is so much better than on the uphill. And you don't have to stress about every step. And you can get to the end, you'll be like, you know what? No, it's okay. The next benefit I want to talk about is hiking speed. Because hiking speed is something that often, we don't really dive into so much. And in the bad situations, the poor situations, and the struggle is when we're out hiking, and it's usually when we're with a friend or a group or whatever it may be, and we just realize that, look, they're quicker than us. And so we have to actively really, really, really push our pace. And that works fine at first, but then we start to struggle. We start to lag. We start to get really, really huffed and puffed. We start to get a little bit gross. We start to really feel fatigued. And we just start dropping further and further and further behind the group. And then we get into this situation where they've got to wait for us. They're at the top of the hill and they're just looking down. And you get to them at the top of the hill and then they just fire off again. You're like, oh my gosh, just give me a moment to rest. And you start to feel guilty. You start to feel bad. And everything starts to compound. And it just doesn't turn into a good situation. That's a bad situation. Again, I think a lot of us have probably been there. Now, on the flip side, if we've done the right training, we've put the effort in the perfect world, we can get ourselves to this situation where you're like, you know what? This is a bit quicker than what I like to hike at, but you know what? I can handle this. I can keep up with people. I'm not getting huffed and puffed. My legs are keeping up. People aren't waiting for me. I can actually get up and keep everyone. We can all have a rest together. I don't feel like I'm holding people up, and we're all on the same level. And that's a really fantastic position to be in. Or we can talk about rock hopping. Bad situation with rock hopping, when we're tired, when we're unstable or whatever it may be, when we're scrambling over rocks. It can be like, you know what? I've really got to do like 3 or 4 movements for every single rock I do. I've got to sort of put a foot up, then I've got to get my balance, then I've got to put another foot up, then I put my hand, I kind of got to almost roll myself onto the rock. And every single step, I need to really, really concentrate, because if I don't, I'll tip over, I'll get sore, I'll even trip over and have a real incident. And it turns into this intense mental battle, which is just draining. But on the other side of things, if we're in a really good position from our training, instead of having to take every single rock with serious concentration, with multiple movements, we can almost glide across them almost. You can go step after step after step. You can be confident where your feet are going. You can be confident if you have a little bit of a slip, you'll be able to handle it. You can be confident that you're going to have the right footing. And even if you're not in exactly the right footing, your strength is there to support you. And it just gets so much more enjoyable. Or long days. And I'm going to keep on going. So, bear with me. I'm getting all worked up. I'm getting all sweaty saying this episode, but I'm going to keep on going. The next one I want to talk about is long days. Long days on the trail, like this is something that I often get myself into when I'm out of condition, is, you start off the hike, you're excited. You haven't done a hike in a while. You're feeling good. You get through the first morning, and you're all good. You have lunch. You're like, boom, feeling good with lunch. You get about an hour after lunch and you're like, oh, you know what? I'm getting a bit tired here. Hour after that, you're like, oh, you know what? I'm a bit over this. Like, when's this going to end? Hour after that, you're like, oh my gosh, when is this going to end? And you kind of spend 3/4 of the hike just kind of counting down the kilometers, counting down to the end, and just not really enjoying yourself. Alternatively, if you've done the right training, if you're in good conditioning, that can be a whole different. You can get to that last 3/4 of a day, and you can almost finish the day like you started. You can continue on, feeling excited, feeling fresh, taking in the views, having a good time, chatting with everyone, and not constantly looking at your watch or looking at the kilometers or miles and just counting things down. But you can just have a fantastic time. You can get to the end of the day just feeling like, you know what? I could have gone further. I could have gone for another hour or 2 or 3 or whatever it is. I'm feeling fresh. I can go enjoy the rest of my day. That's a great position to be in. Now, just a few more. before I wrap this up. I know I've been going on and on about this, but, I'm enjoying it, so whatever. Rougher terrain. Let's talk about that. So we talked about rock climbing. Rougher terrain, if we're sort of thinking about, just walking on shale or sleet, if we're in mud or even snow, if we've got roots or whatever it may be. In the bad situation, we can kind of spend the whole situation there hiking along, but really, really worrying, look, a rock's going to slide after us, or, we're going to slip and fall, or we're going to trip, or we're going to, have a tumble, and we just really need to focus every single step. And we worry and concern and stress, and it just builds up, and it ends up being a bit of anxiety the whole time you're on this section. And it sucks. It's not much fun. I've been there. Again, alternatively, if you've done the right training, if you're in a good position, you can sort of have that deep-welled confidence that you're going to be able to deal with it. Yes, you still do need to concentrate, but you're like, you know what? If something does go wrong, I'll be able to catch myself. My body will be able to handle it. If I tip over and stumble over, it's not going to be that big a deal. And that's a great position to be in. Or with a heavy pack, bad situation, heavy pack. You put that on, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so much weight. Every single step, you're like, oof, I can feel that. Every single step uphill, you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's a bit of a struggle. And you really got to worm your way up, like on steep steps and this and that. On the way down your hill, you're like, oh my gosh, like I really need to pay attention or I'm just going to fall down this hill. Not much fun. In the great situation, one of the benefits of training is if you put that back on and immediately you feel like it's just part of you. It's not that big a deal. You can cruise along at the same pace. You can keep on going and going and going, and it all feels good. You feel like your legs can just handle uphill, downhill, and it's not a big deal at all. That's a great position to be in. And the last one I want to mention is multi-days. And this is sort of extended on from the longer days. Quite often on multi-day hikes or overnight hikes, in a bad situation, we may get through day 1 or day 2 fine. But then we start waking up in the morning and we're like stiff and sore and we've got to hobble around for like half an hour at breakfast. And then like as it gets longer, we're like, oh my gosh, I would love a rest day, or maybe I don't really want to do today, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And our excitement on the hike day after day just gets less and less and less because we're just not feeling good. Alternatively, you can, if you're in the right position, you can wake up in the morning, roll out of your tent or roll out of your bed and not be stiff and sore. Be like, boom, I'm feeling good. I'm excited. Like, let's have brekkie. Let's have this coffee and hit the trail. I'm ready to roll. And day after day after day, you can feel like that. It is such a great position to be in. All of these and so many more are some incredible, tangible benefits of training for hiking. These are things that I have felt, my clients have felt, probably you've felt in different situations in your life, both the negative, but also the positive. And if you do the right training, you do the right prep, you put the effort in, you can feel like this on your adventures. It won't be easy. It will take some work. It won't happen overnight, but it is very, 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 very possible. So now I'll probably need to go have a shower after this. I'm a little bit sweaty. I've got all worked up and I need to go calm down. So before I wrap up this episode, I will just say, if you are in any of these situations on that negative side of things, if you struggle, if there's something giving you concern, if there's something you want to improve on, and you want to shift your hiking to that positive I was talking about, to that good position where you're feeling confident, strong, ready for anything, if you're like that, I would love to hear from you, and I would love to help you with all of this. As I said at the start of the episode, this week I am doing a big enrollment on my signature program, the Online Summit Program. Specifically, we are looking for hikers who want to improve their fitness, strength, and resilience for their adventures. And if you want to improve your hiking, if you want to get in great position, it'll be a fantastic option for so many hikers out there. So if you want to find out a little bit more about that, what I'd like you to do is to go to summitstrength.com/apply. From there, you can find a time to chat with us and we can really explore if and how this program may be right for you, your goals, your situation, and your hiking. So if you want to find out more, go to summitstrength.com.au/apply and I'll leave a link for that in the show notes below. So thank you so much for listening today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you got a bit out of it, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye.